Hey everybody, welcome back. For those of you who've been with me for a while, my name is Andrew. I'm the lead admin on the Commander page on Facebook. And for those of you who've been following my Spin Down Productions content for quite some time, I know you've been asking me when I'm making videos, and trust me, I know it's been a little while, life has come into play. So I'm back, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to bring back my old show, or my old segment I should call it, of the new recruits. So every week we're going to open up a pack or two of a various set. I'm going to choose them at random, or I'm going to take suggestions from you guys. And we're going to open up and we're going to talk about primarily the uncommons, the rares, and the mythics, and how they can impact Commander. These videos aren't going to be totally long. They're not going to be drawn out for an hour, hour and a half. This one may be a couple extra minutes long, as I say welcome back to all of you tuning in, for those of you new to my page, and also those of you who stayed by me. So today I decided to go with the newest set of Throne of Eldraine. And as you guys know, I have horrible pronunciation, so bear with me. Let's see what we got in here. We'll graze through the commons, but Bargin, Paddlin, what's that? Ooh, a turtle. I like turtles. Sensational Appetite, Giant Skewer, Golden Egg, Tall the Beanstalk. Tall the Beanstalk is actually not that bad for a Commander deck, especially if you got those low-budget enchantments like Naya. Paddlin, the basic lands, Gargoyle, the new counterspell. Alright, let's start with the uncommons though, because I already skipped one, and that one is the Hypnotic Sprite. Alright, 2 blue mana for a 2/1 flyer. Not a whole lot for a creature, not very impressive. It's Adventure though. 2 and a blue instant counter target spell with converted mana cost 3 or less. Now with the Adventure spells, when you cast them, they go immediately to the exile. You don't have a choice to put them into the graveyard. However, if you're playing normal Commander, this isn't bad as a typical counterspell for 2 and a blue. It fits into your Dimir Fairy decks. It fits into even maybe some of those new Ninja decks that are popping up, those low converted mana costs, 1 and 2 drops that have easy evasion with flying. What's nice about this is if you play another variant of Commander known as Tiny Leaders, well, you know 3 mana or less is the entire format. So yes, it is a little bit more prone to being subject to only a certain thing, but at least that is the entire format is 3 or less. Next up we got Deafening Silence. Each player can't cast more than 1 non-creature spell each turn for 1 white mana. I love this card. Those of you who know me and seen my deck lists online know I love mono white enchantment decks and a aggro deck, so I'm kind of contradiction there. I go back and forth, but 1 white mana for each player can't cast more than 1 non-creature spell per turn. It really shuts down all those storm decks. It shuts down all those draw decks and wheel effects. It shuts down so many different options, and you will draw hate with this very, very quickly. And its 1 white mana cost makes it super easy to play turn 1. Just put it out there. Now you got to be cautious on yourself, so you don't have to run into that. But if you're, let's say you're a Boros deck that's running 45 creatures, or a Mardu deck that's running, a number of different creatures and equipments, you can put that in there turn 1 and just keep the pace going as you want to. So it can work great in a deck that has a lot of creatures that are coming into play, or you can put it in a deck that's heavy enchantments. Even though it hinders you a little bit, you're going to control the pace of the board. If it didn't cost anything more than 1 mana, it may not be that big of a conversation piece, but at 1 mana, really easy card to put into a lot of decks. And don't underestimate Azurius with this card either. Lavinia the 10th comes to mind with her Detain ability as she comes into play. You really lock them down between only 1 non-creature spell, and then you detain everything that's in play as well. So it really kind of works out for your advantage. So I like that uncommon quite a bit. Next we have Edgewall Innkeeper. He's a 1 green, 1/1 human peasant. When you cast a creature spell that has an adventure, draw a card. It's okay. It's situational at best. I mean, with these new adventure cards, they're only in the Throne of Eldraine set. So if you're running Throne of Eldrith Commander deck, probably with Kendrith, you're going to probably run it in there. If you're running black-green and you're running a lot of these new adventure cards to gain life, to get the food tokens, Jund has a lot of these adventure cards, utilize them in a few new decks. Great for that. It's really good if you're playing the Brawl variant as well, especially with all those effects with the adventure spells that they have. So overall, it's okay. It's situational. It's not going to go in every green deck. And if your deck's not running a good amount of adventure spells, it probably won't make its way into your cuts. Followed up with our rare, we got the Feat. The Feat of 4 mana for a sorcerer to gain 7. But you can only cast 1 more spell this turn. This card, I have a love and hate relationship with. It's one of those things where they gave it amazing artwork and they put it on a mediocre card. It does have a home. It's going to be really good in those decks that are going to play one-shot giant 7-8 mana board wipes or Jaluko Ops or Armageddon type effects. Not Armageddon, but the Chroma effects where it's just going to be one giant hit with the amount of mana that you need. Really good if you're going to do cycling for a turn, and because cycling is not casting a card. So if you're playing this and you have a ton of cycling in your hand, just cycle all your cards away. Great in Oathbreaker as well if you want to run this with maybe Chandra, Torch of Defiance, if you want to run this with Koth, if you want to run this with almost any mono red Planeswalker, you can do anything like that. It's even not too bad in Xenagos, so that way you can go cast this, you can play Xenagos as +1, get yourself a ton of mana, and just use that one spell that you have just to play something devastating. Okay, overall, mediocre pack. We got a Mountain and a Night token, so not too much here. Let's move on to the second pack. This pack was okay. Let's see. Alright. The Return of Opt. Now, even though a common, that is very good in most formats. It's not bad in Commander either. Thrill of Possibilities. Now, this is a card that I was only going to talk about if I pulled one. I'm glad that I did. For those of you who are looking for card draw in mono red or even splash red, and you've been using Tormenting Voice for the last 10 years, now you have an instant speed version of it. Tormenting a Voice will probably not get run in most decks now, because now you have it at instant speed, which red did not have. Red instant speed card draw just makes life a lot easier. The Cow, so tiny. Fellow the Peasant, less unexpected. Yeah, let's go through these. Another really good common in this set, though, Mystic Sanctuary. Another common. This set does have a decent amount of commons. This one has been burning up a lot of deck lists. The foils, like $10+ at the point of this video. Comes into play if you control 3 more islands. It comes into play untapped. If it does come into play untapped, you return an instant of sorcery from your graveyard on the top of your library. Necrosar decks love this. Kami decks love this. Any Izzet deck loves something like this. Nice little effect there. And it also works with your buddy land, so you can have this come into play, and then you can have your Glacial Fortress and all your your buddy lands as such come into play untapped. As far as what we got for our uncommons, though, we have our Pixie. We have a 2-mana 2/2 flying, taps are green or blue. It's okay. It's a fairy. Usually fairies are blue-black in Commander, maybe mono blue. There's not a whole lot of blue-green. But for 2 mana for a 2/2 that taps are 2 of your colors, it can attack if need be. It can block some evasion. If you're going to run those very quick Simic decks, it's great for that. It's not going to go in your tribal deck by any means probably, but if you need a quick little mana dork that you want to attack with when you don't play something turn 3 or 4, it's perfect for that. Next up, we have Bell of the Brawl. 3 mana for a 3/2 Human Knight Menace. When it attacks, other knights you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Now, going right from no tribal decks to tribal decks, knights have taken over the last couple sets. People have been asking for a long time. There's people have been wondering when we're going to get more knights and knights and knights and knights. And now we have so many. There's so much support for it. The fact that it has Menace for a 3-drop 3/2 on its own isn't bad to begin with, but the fact that it pumps up other knights as well when it attacks, just swing away with it. Mardu Knights has been very popular as of late. People have been running it and everything and just having fun smashing face with it. Even Black-White Knights were pretty popular and pretty good even before this set. So this just adds to the fuel for that deck right there. Next we have Savvy Hunter. 1 black and green for a 3/3 Human Warrior. When it attacks or blocks, create a food token, which is 2 mana, tap and sack the artifact, you gain 3 life, or you can sacrifice 2 food tokens or draw a card. Now, even though this isn't working with the adventure spells and the food tokens are brand new, they are insanely powerful. I do see them finding a home very much so in the Commander format. You have the new Jund Commander there, the dragon. When you sack something, you put a counter on them, draw a card. This sack of 2 food counters, you're going to draw 1 card, 2 card, 3 cards, and put 2 counters on them all at the same time. You're going to be able to double up your food tokens to come into play with Doubling Season and Parallel Lives because they're tokens. You got Second Harvest that works with this. This card will find a home. This card will be that, that little bit of extra synergy that a deck may need, or any food deck will probably be running this. It's definitely going to find use. And then, of course, just like other effects in Commander, Hushbringer. 2 mana for a 1/2 flying and lifelink. Creatures entering the battlefield or dying don't cause abilities to trigger. Now, we've had effects that cause creatures that don't have, or I should say, don't cause ETB effects to trigger, but this one's unique where it doesn't cause dying to cause trigger effects. That's very good against decks like Child of Alara. That's really good against pretty much any deck with a commander or the theme of the deck is they have to die to trigger. So this right here shuts off your Blood Artist players, so they can't just, hey, I'm going to sacrifice every token every time one dies. I gain one, you lose one, rinse, cycle, and repeat. It doesn't have flash. That's kind of one drawback, but we can't get everything we want. But the fact you're going to be able to stop both effects incoming and outgoing, there'll be a ton of decks that play this. It's low mana, it gains you life, it stops 2 different effects. It will be played. It's a perfectly fine card. Overall, packs were okay. You know, we got an island and we got the emblem. This is actually an emblem, believe it or not. That's what they're labeling that as. So hold on to them. They were like 25 cents. But yeah, guys, thanks for having me in the page. Thanks for supporting it all these years. We're now the world's largest. If you stayed through this long, looks like we're just closing in 11 minutes, so I'm going to close this up. But I'm going to start doing these once a week now, and we'll go from there, and I appreciate you guys' support. All right, guys, have a good one.